The Galactic Council never expected that message from Earth. For centuries, the galaxy had known humans as brilliant engineers, stubborn diplomats, and reckless explorers, but warriors? No. Humans were considered too soft, too emotional for large-scale war. So when the Corral Swarm invaded the Outer Rim and the Council desperately asked every species for soldiers, Earth's representatives only smiled and said one chilling sentence: "We will send the monsters we fear the most." No one understood what that meant until the ships arrived. On the shattered moon of Rethos 9, Commander Telrix of the Council. Defense watched as an entire human fleet descended silently. No banners, no signals. Just cold, matte black carriers that looked like floating tombs. The first carrier opened, and the creatures walked out. At first glance, they resembled humans, but wrong. Too tall, too still. Their skin was pale like winter stone, their eyes dark and unreadable. Their armor was sleek, blood black, and pulsing faintly like it was alive. Every soldier moved with perfect, synchronized precision, not a breath out of place. Telrix felt his scales rise. "Are these soldiers?" A calm human officer stepped forward. "No, Commander. These are Revenants." Telrix swallowed. "And what are Revenants?" The human smile didn't reach his eyes. Humans who are trained not to break, not to fear, not to hesitate. Their minds are engineered for discipline, their bodies rebuilt for war. They are the ones we keep locked away unless the situation is truly hopeless. Telrix's voice shook. "You created monsters." "No," the officer whispered. "We found them in ourselves." The Corral Swarm hit like a living storm. Millions of armored insects, flooding across the moon, ripping through defenses, devouring everything. Every other species panicked. The Revenants did not. They moved like a single mind, no shouting, no panic, no wasted motion. Their rifles fired streaks of silent blue fire that tore through Corral armor. Blades of shimmering plasma extended from their forearms, slicing clean arcs through swarm warriors. One Revenant was buried under a pile of insects, only to rise again, blood dripping, eyes burning, tearing the creatures apart with his hands. Telrix watched in horror. "These are not soldiers," he whispered. "These are death-given form." In 1 hour, the Corral were slaughtered. In 2, the moon was silent. In 3, the Revenants stood calmly in formation again, as if nothing had happened. The human officer approached Telrix quietly. "You asked humanity for warriors," he said. "But we knew warriors wouldn't be enough." He looked toward the army of monsters. "So we sent you the nightmares we learned to control." The silence after the battle was suffocating. Telrix could hear the faint hum of the Revenants, armor and the whisper of the human, officers' boots on the scorched ground. The Corral Swarm was gone. But Telrix felt no relief, only the creeping awareness that he had just witnessed something beyond comprehension. "Commander," the human officer said, voice calm yet heavy with warning, "the galaxy believes in war as a contest of armies. Humanity believes in survival as a test of control. These Revenants are not our first line of defense. They are our last." Telrix shivered. You could have destroyed us all," he murmured. The officer smiled faintly. "Only if we failed to control them." Suddenly, the remnants of the Corral Swarm stirred. Tiny clusters of insects scuttled from the shadows, attempting to regroup. The Revenants moved silently, faster than thought, with movements almost too swift for the eye. They dismembered the insects, their blades leaving trails of blue fire in the dark. Telrix noticed something terrifying. These creatures did not merely fight. They hunted. Every motion, every glance, every strike was calculated to instill terror in those who faced them. Telrix felt his stomach tighten as he watched a single Revenant lift a fallen human. Soldier, one of Earth's own. Engineers, and whisper something in the soldier's ear. The soldier's eyes widened in understanding and then hardened in resolve. Within seconds, he was transformed, moving with the same precision and ruthlessness as the Revenant beside him. The officer stepped closer to Telrix. "This is what humanity sends when the galaxy asks for soldiers," he said softly. "Not humans with hope, not humans with ideals, humans who have confronted the darkness within themselves and emerged untouchable by fear." Telrix's voice was barely audible. How do you control them?" The officer's gaze hardened. "We do not control them. We train them. We prepare them. And we hope they remember that their allegiance is to the living, not to the monster inside." As night fell on Rethos 9, Telrix watched the Revenants line up. standing like statues against the cratered horizon. The human officer's fleet remained silent, the carriers like looming shadows over the desolation. For the first time, Telrix understood the warning. These were not just soldiers. These were humanity's nightmares made flesh, tempered into weapons, and unleashed on a galaxy that had underestimated Earth for far too long. The officer finally spoke again. The Corral thought they could destroy us. They thought they could break humanity. They were wrong. And remember this, Commander, when humanity sends its monsters, the galaxy does not survive by hope. It survives by fear. Telrix shivered. Fear was no longer a tool. It was a prophecy. Rethos 9 was silent, but the air trembled with the unspoken tension of what had just happened. Telrix stood among scorched craters and shattered Corral shells, feeling a chill that had nothing to do with temperature. Humanity's monsters had shown the galaxy that fear could be weaponized and that humans themselves had learned to master it. The human officer approached Telrix again. Commander, the battle is over, but the war is only beginning. The Corral will retreat, lick their wounds, and return stronger. And when they do, we will be ready. But they will never face humans as you think of us. They will face humans as nightmares in motion. Telrix swallowed hard. What does that mean for the galaxy? The officer's eyes were dark, unreadable. It means that no species will ever underestimate Earth again. And it means that every species will learn that sending soldiers is not enough if you cannot control the monsters within. From the shadows, a Revenant stepped forward. Its eyes glowed faintly under the dim light of the moon. It tilted its head toward the human officer, then turned toward Telrix. It spoke in a voice that was almost human, yet cold and precise. We have done what was required. Do not mistake mercy for weakness. The galaxy is watching. Fear is our gift. Let it remind them. Telrix felt the weight of those words sink deep into his bones. The galaxy had always defined power in numbers, technology, and strategy. But humanity had rewritten the rules with something far older and far darker. Discipline fused with absolute ruthlessness. The Corral might return, or another enemy might rise. But Telrix knew one thing. Earth had changed the calculus forever. As the human fleet prepared to depart, the officer spoke one last time. Commander, you may tell the Council that humanity's army fights with courage and honor, but if they wish to survive the coming wars, they will need more than courage. They will need fear, the right kind of fear. And we have mastered it. The carriers lifted into the dark sky, their black hulls swallowing the starlight. The Revenants stood in perfect formation, shadows among shadows, silent and waiting for the next command. Telrix turned to look at the horizon, the barren moon stretching endlessly before him. He understood that history had shifted in an instant. The Corral had learned the first lesson of many. The monsters humans feared the most were no longer locked away. They had been unleashed, and they were unstoppable. The galaxy would remember Earth. Not for its diplomacy, not for its inventions, not even for its soldiers, but for the monsters it dared to control and send forth. And the echoes of that lesson would haunt every corner of the stars for centuries to come.